fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Q's show here, and now let us begin. Whenever we last left off with this series, Izuku Midoriya, he's discovered his quote-unquote quirk, or strange ability. Now, Midoriya, he's also discovered the tank ability to Bad Company, summoning one tank and destroying a tree. Now, with that being said, let us continue. We will pick up with Midoriya roughly around the age of 14. He has vastly increased his knowledge of his quote-unquote quirk, along with knowing more about military tactics and other things that he would need to know in order to properly use his abilities. Now, along with that, he has found that his knowledge on guns might also be an important factor of his quirk. Now, Midoriya is unaware as to how Bad Company actually works, thinking that it is a quirk, when in reality it is not. Bad Company is something else. Now, Midoriya, he has also learned more about military tanks and helicopters. Around the age of 10 years old whenever he created the first helicopter. And it actually did have similar abilities to his tank. However, it can also fire off more and more machine gun ammo. It can fire off more shots with a machine gun than his soldiers can. Now, instead of one simple, let's say 20 round burst, if he were to have 20 men fire, the machine gun on his tiny helicopters, they can spray and pray, you can call it. Now, with all that, we will pick up in class. Within all this time, Midoriya and Bakugo have somewhat begun to warm up to each other. I put that in air quotes. They are pretty good friends, but neither one of them is going to admit it. Now, Midoriya and Bakugo are actually in class, and Midoriya is actually using his quirk. Now, Midoriya does this to train, as he thinks, releasing his power and letting his soldiers run around and basically do what they want, as long as they don't go around people's feet or around their legs, then they all should be fine. Along with the fact that if they do hit a desk, it can probably just be assumed that it was something else, not his actual ability. Now, the entire room is covered in soldiers, basically. There's one on someone else's desk, there's one over there, there's one over there, there's one by the board. And he actually has a helicopter flying overhead, along with the tank sitting by the window. Now, Midoriya is actually somewhat a bit bored, staring around and actually doing different formations for his men, watching as he does have some of them doing push-ups and sit-ups, thinking that this also does actually help them. Now, Midoriya actually does get snapped out of his little daze, when Bakugo pounds his hand down on his desk and asks if this damn dumbass is even paying attention. Huh? What do you want? Tuh, didn't you just hear the guy? What? Oh, no. Ah, well, he's asking if we're going to UA. Hmm? Oh, yeah. Well, my. Izuku Midoriya and your quirk. Him flipping the paper up and reading the name. Bad Company? Hmm. That's quite a name. Oh, yeah. I would explain it, but I don't think you'd understand. Hmm? What do you mean, young man? Forget about it. Now, everyone does somewhat whisper to themselves, and actually Midori does begin to hear murmurs. People talking about his strange or crazy quirk. Talking about how Midoriya says that he has tiny soldiers, but no one has ever seen them. Thinking that Midoriya is lying. Now, let's say that a kid is drinking a soda in class, and the kid he actually has to go to sit it down. As soon as he does, Midoriya brings his hand up and snaps his fingers. That being where the can is shredded, and soda begins to pour out of one side. The kid turning to look in a direction that is Midoriya's. Midoriya sitting 5 desk to the kid's left. Midoriya does somewhat begin to smirk. The kid just staring at him, as he actually has bring the can up after it is empty, and seeing little holes. People around him kind of confused, asking why he spilled his drink. Before he does just hold the can. Now, the teacher does try and tell Midoriya that he should not have used his quirk like that. Hmm? I didn't use my quirk. Huh? Yeah, I saw him stab holes in his can. I did not. Yeah, you did. I saw it. Now, the teacher, technically he didn't see anything, but he does want to assume that was Midoriya. But there's literally no evidence. Now, with all that, Midoriya and Bakugo do leave. As soon as they do leave the school, they are both talking, more and more. Bakugo asks Midoriya if he's going to be doing anything later. I don't know. It's all just a bit complicated. Complicated? The hell are you talking about? Well, I don't know. I don't really know the best way to say it. I plan to do something about my ability. I want to go somewhere and test it completely. A place where I can let loose, you know? That sounds kind of stupid. How is it stupid? Just cuz. If you let loose your ability, you can destroy quite a lot of things. Says the walking terrorist. Hey, I'm not a terrorist. Sure, Bakugo. But even then, Midoriya says, stretching his arms behind his head, going on to state that he doesn't feel like letting loose his quirk would be a bad idea, right? Just go somewhere and throw around all the power you can. See what you can really do. Just go flat out crazy. Asking Bakugo if he doesn't think it sounds like a good idea. Bakugo saying that the idea does sound tempting. However, what about, well, things nearby? You're a bit crazy, man. Yeah, whatever. Now, Midoriya actually does head home. Him not encountering the sludge villain, since him and Bakugo, they took a different route. And Bakugo does head to the mall. Midoriya heading home and getting there a couple minutes later than he originally would have in canon if he went home normally. Well, Bakugo does actually head to the mall. Now, All Might does still catch the sludge villain here. And as soon as he does catch the villain, he immediately buffs down. And he actually does feel exhausted. Him sitting down and actually leaning up against the wall, taking a deep breath as he does try and regain some energy. Now, he would then later head to the police station and drop off the sludge villain. Meanwhile, with Midoriya, we will cut to his room. Midoriya is doing push-ups and a ton of sit-ups, along with actually working on a pull-up bar. Him bringing his hands up and tapping his chin, or the top part of his throat by his Adam's apple, to the bar, before slowly coming back down, and doing the same thing over and over again. Midoriya doing this with his legs crossed as he does go up and down. Now, after he does get done with that, he does drop off the bar, before taking a second to breathe, doing one thing. He jumps back on the bar and just lets his body hang, before swinging his legs backwards and trying to swing his legs over him. Midoriya wrapping his legs over the bar and letting go with his hands. Him being held there with his kneecaps on the very top of the bar. Now, Midoriya then does try and do sit-ups like this, before he either does have the blood rush to his head a lot, or he is done working out. Before he does get down. Now, with that happening, Midoriya does do this type of training, and he does have quite a bit of fun with it. Now, we do cut to roughly around, let's say 2 weeks later. Midoriya, he is keeping up on his own training. Along with that, he is going to be informed that they do have a week off of school. Now, Midoriya is actually quite excited for this, as whenever he does get home, he does ask his mom a few questions. And she actually does tell him that if he does do all of this and all this, then he does need to be aware of the risk. Midoriya explained that he understands, and that he's going to be alright. Now, Midoriya, he has begged his mom to let him go out camping. And Inko has not really been up for going out and going into the wilderness. However, Midoriya has begged her to just let him go by himself. He can handle it. Inko, she does know about her baby's peculiar quirk, but she isn't just going to let him go outside all by himself all alone. And she did actually have a bit of a deal with Midoriya. If he were to, let's say, just get straight A's for the quarter, then he could do it. And actually, let's say for the school year. And since the school year for last year just ended, they got his report card. Midoriya, he got all straight A's. Inko thinking about two things. He either cheated or he actually studied. Let's just say it's number two. Now, with that, Midoriya, he actually does pack his bags. And he does go out to get a few things. Midoriya, he does head to a store, and he actually does buy what seems to be some foods that he would need. They are quite high in calories, but they are going to be easy to make MREs. And Midoriya also does buy a flint and steel, along with a mirror. Now, with all of that being said, this is a hand mirror, not some just like mirror you would hang on your wall. Now, Midoriya actually does head out, and as he's walking into the woods, he actually does find what looks to be a good area, and he can also hear running water nearby. Midoriya actually quite happy about that. So, let's see. This would be a good spot for it. Midoriya looking around a little bit more, and finding what looks to be a, well, not what looks to be a hut, but it's a few rocks, or giant rocks, basically smashed together. Or they look like they fell against each other some time ago. And Midoriya actually does look at this, finding it to be quite roomy. There is a spot big enough for him to sleep in. Along with that, Midoriya, he does seem to fit inside here well. Now, after Midoriya does set down his bags, he actually does begin to collect some brush, or some basically grass, and a whole lot of it. Midoriya is collecting this so that he can put it on the ground, and then he would put his sleeping bag on it, meaning that whenever he's laying down against the ground, he won't lose all that heat or have it get pulled out of his body, since the entire purpose of this is to try and stay warm. Along with that, Midoriya actually does decide to use bad company. Him actually having bad company shoot down a few branches off of the trees. Now, Midoriya is actually having a bit of fun, and he's even trying to help out himself, picking up giant logs or big pieces of wood and trying to carry them over. Midoriya going full mountain man. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he actually does try to get the fire started, using a small pile of those dried out leaves. Now, Midoriya actually does begin to try and use his flint and steel, sparking the two back against each other over and over and over. And he actually does eventually get an actual spark. That does light the grass on fire. Now, with that, Midoriya, or not grass, I believe it would be brush. Now, Midoriya, he would actually then slowly place this piece that's on starting to catch fire quickly into the pile of logs, and watch as it does begin to spark up. Now, Midoriya does have a good fire going, so he does actually need to get some water now. Midoriya grabbing a cup from his backpack and following the sounds of running water. Now, one quick trip downstream, or to the stream, Midoriya does find it, along with actually testing to see if it is drinkable. It is. Now, after that, Midoriya does head back and begin to boil his water, using a small metal cup and placing it on the rocks, as his water does eventually begin to start boiling. Midoriya beginning to prepare his MRE and eating it before actually going to sleep. the fire popping and crackling as Midoriya does sleep. Now, with all of that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing night. I will catch you guys in the next part.